Blessings. I am the Reverend Douglas Taylor, and I am excited to welcome you into another session of Digging Deeper with Reverend Douglas. In each episode, I respond to a question that has come to me from a member of my congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Binghamton, or from somebody who watches these episodes online. If you would like to send in a question, you can send me an email at dtaylor@uubinghamton.org. Today's question comes from a member of the congregation. What are the most important things to act locally about as we think globally, in your opinion? So that's based on that old saw, of course, think globally, act locally. So what are the most important things to act locally about? So here's the anytime, anywhere answer. The whole point of that concept of thinking globally and acting locally is that you pay attention to what's happening. What's happening this year in this locale, in this globe experience, is different from what might have been happening in another time, what will be happening in a couple of months or years from now. So the whole point is to think about what's going on globally, and then also to know what's going on locally. Sometimes that's the hard part, is to connect in with what's going on, to pay attention enough to be aware of the issues that are at stake in your area. And to acknowledge that it says, don't give us the definitive answer for all time. It says, what do you think is most important in your opinion? So obviously, in my opinion, I'm going to talk about Black Lives Matter and racial justice and injustice that's happening, police brutality, voter suppression, things like that are going on globally. That I want to be paying attention to. And so to act locally, it's to pay attention to what's going on in racial issues in my area. I live in an area that has a jail, a prison that is populated by folks from New York City, and there's a disparity of race in there. So that's something for me to pay attention to. The other piece that I would say is always worth it to think locally, to act locally, is to care for the poor. Almost every global issue will have a higher impact locally on the poor. If you care about the environment, the poor are usually the people who suffer first and hardest from environmental degradation. If you care about the criminal justice system, it tends to be the poor who end up in the criminal justice system. If you are concerned about racism, there is an overlap of the distinctions of class and race, of what's happening in our American context for certain, but globally as well. So food scarcity, housing, the list goes on and on about how the poor are sort of the center point. So I invite you to act locally, specifically about the poor. That, in my opinion, is a great place to always begin. This has been Digging Deeper with Reverend Douglas. Blessings.